Whoa. What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another Tuesday Crypto Connoisseurs. Guys, the market has been well, it's been asleep, but I think everybody expects very soon for something major to happen, and we're here, with some of the brightest minds in the space to try to find out what exactly is going to happen. As all of our wonderful TA analysts say, it's either going to go up or it's going to go down, right? And so we're trying to find out what exactly is going to happen. And we got some guys on the show tonight that can hopefully give us some clarity on that, and also discuss some of the major macro news issues that are going on in the world. And guys, let's get this thing spread out. We need. I want this to be the biggest giveaway that anybody has ever done on anything in the world ever with crypto, right? Like millions and millions and millions of dollars. I want to give away on this show, right? So how do we do that? Well, first of all, we have to give value to the projects that are contributing, right? So we have, if you haven't been here before, or you're not really sure what we're doing, this list is getting so long that it's hard to fit in the screen right now, right? So we have all of these amazing projects that have contributed private sale allocation. And if you guys, if you don't know already, usually it's extremely difficult to get private sale allocation into projects. And, a lot of us work our butt off in order to do that. And, we have over here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different projects already. I know that I'm in talks with quite a few more to get this number up dramatically, right? So we've got HoDooi, Polytrade, Finance, Ally, Pera, FormationFi, EmiSwap, Omni, Plutos, Bright Union, Decubate, Demodyfi, and Creator. And guys, these are great projects, right? And anyone who might complain about maybe the price not being up dramatically, well, if you guys aren't aware, the entire market is sleeping right now. But we're hoping that it gets shooken up and waken up. But guys, this is potentially, if you invested $10,000 into the paid network private sale, that would have been worth a couple $1 million, right, for just one project alone. So we're talking about potentially 5, 10, plus $1 million of this giveaway, right? So how do you guys help? You got to like this video. You got to share it with people, and let's get this up to the craziest, most insane giveaway that anybody has ever seen, ever, right? And I have no problem giving away $10, $20 million on the show, whatever it gets up to, right? And you guys can help do that by demonstrating the value that this show gives to the people who are contributing, right? And so, one of our guests tonight is actually one of the co-founders of Omni, who has kindly contributed to the thing. And we've had him on here before, Petrix. I just wanted to bring you on real quick, and everyone welcome Petrix back. Petrix, why don't you tell us a little bit about this? This is the first kind of quite unique IDO launch event that the world has ever seen, right? I mean, what's going on? We have this huge plans, right, with DJs and virtual rooms, and it's kind of like similar, I guess, to when a project goes public on Wall Street. They do a big party for them, right? Tell us about it.
Absolutely. Nice to be here, Kyle. Thank you very much. Really, really nice to be here in the show again for the second time. I respect so much your work and the whole community, for sure. So, yes, it's pretty special, right? Like, really what Apollo X is doing, it's bringing right now to DeFi, to the launches, to the ecosystem. It's like definitely never seen before. And we are really proud to be part of this, to be the first project having this amazing launch party. We're going to have like a live DJ. We're going to go to the Apollo X website, and then you're going to have 1 hour of international DJ, Nastia. She's awesome, very famous in Europe. She matches perfectly with the synergy with what we're bringing, what Apollo X is, what Omni is, and she'll be there entertaining us while we do what we already used to do, right, in an IDO event. Going over there, staking, make sure you log in, make sure you get your allocation, make sure you do the whole process prior to listing on exchange. So yes, we are very excited that this will be like literally a party. Even if you're not going to join the launch for some reason, you got to be at the event and experience this new adventure.
Thanks, man. Cool. Next up, we got a new guest of the show, Jordan, but you guys all know him as That Martini Guy. Jordan, welcome to the show, brother. Thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be invited, Kyle.
How's the mic? Does the mic sound better?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfectly clear, man. Thanks for letting me know that it was picking up the audio from the webcam earlier. So thanks for clearing that up.
No bother. Anyway, it's good to be invited. What are we going to be discussing today? Man,
a lot of we need to figure out what the hell is going on. There's a lot of rumors speculating around the cryptoverse right now. We got things like on the macro financial world too, as well, right? We got things like Wells Fargo, canceling all lines of credit. But leading to a credit crunch. Last time we saw this was pre-2008 financial market collapse, right? So we need to figure out what's going on there. We've got rumors about an OTC deal that was for $2.5 billion, right after Steve Wozniak came out and said that, he's a big supporter of Bitcoin. A lot of speculation leading to this, world adoption, a lot of macro trends, but also for you. And let's bring on my man, Winston. Winston, thanks for joining us, brother. I know that you recently got a job at McDonald's, so please thank your manager for allowing you to take the time off in between your shift, flipping burgers, to come be with us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So there's a lot, Jordan, that we're going to talk about, and really, I need you guys to help us figure this out. And one more backstage, we got Coach. Coach, welcome to the show, brother. How's it going?
Got some weird green screen shit going on, but it's all good.
the guy that you really like often don't like, you cringe at whatever he says, but he's right so much that you can't help but to pay attention to him. So we have a wide variety here of experts in the space that will try to help us figure out what's going on. Jordan, how's the Lambo doing, man?
He's gone in for a service this last week. It's costing an absolute fortune. It's
I was just gonna ask that.
It's £7,000 for having some belts change and something else. It's a lot of money for a car that's worth about £100,000. 10% of its value is being spent on one service.
Wow,
so yeah, expensive stuff.
That's insane, man.
Yeah, it needed it.
How did it just real quick? I'm just curious, because you were quite young when you got into crypto. I mean, you still are, but I mean, quite young back then when you first got your Lambo. And that was like, anyone who got into crypto at the time, that back in the good old days, 2017. What was the thought process when you went and bought it? Did you bought it? I'm assuming you bought it all in cash. And how do you feel about it now?
It was a terrible decision. Put it this way, it cost 14 bitcoins, and at Bitcoin's peak that was $64,000 times by 14. It was a terrible decision. However, do I regret buying it? No, because it's brought me joy, and ultimately you can't just go in life not spending any money. And ultimately I'm spending a lot more than that right now in Bitcoin, and I know that I'm going to live to regret it in the future, but you've just got to keep plugging forward. And just that's the other thing that people forget about crypto is, yes, prices might be down right now, but people FOMO so quickly. You know that like any coin that is down 90% from its all-time high will be up back to where it was as soon as there is any kind of sniff of bullishness in the market. It's not going to take much to reignite, because everyone's still here. People haven't left. Like YouTube engagement is just as high as what it was. So it's just a case of people are waiting to throw money at things again. And when's that going to be? And I think it's going to be sooner than what people think anyway. I think we're coming towards the end of it now.
Yeah, check this out, man. This is an interesting post, right? It talks about I love this channel. If you guys aren't following Documenting Bitcoin on Twitter, make sure that you do that, right? This guy says, I only have 600 Bitcoins, virtually all generated last week. I missed the bus. I'll be buying some more.
Imagine thinking 500 wasn't enough then. You got like Yield App raising a 500 Bitcoin fund as a total now these days, which just puts it in perspective perfectly.
Yeah, Jordan. I bought my Harley in 2015 for my birthday. That was my birthday present to myself. It was a secondhand Harley for 14.5 Bitcoin, and so that was my my story as well. Okay, guys, so let's dive into first. I want to talk about. Let's just watch this quick video. Actually, a couple of them here, and
pitch is a way to. After the bank informed them it is ending all existing personal lines of credit in the coming weeks and will no longer offer the product. The revolving credit lines typically let users borrow $3,000 to $100,000. They were pitched as a way to consolidate higher interest credit card debt, pay for home renovations, or avoid overdraft fees on linked checking accounts. In letters to customers, the bank said it reviewed its product offerings, decided to discontinue the product, and close all existing accounts. It warned customers that the account closures may have an impact on their credit scores. Customers were given a 60-day notice that their accounts would be closed, and remaining balances would require regular minimum payments at a fixed rate. Senator Elizabeth Warren tweeting, "Not a single Wells Fargo customer should see their credit score suffer just because their bank is restructuring after years of scams and incompetence. Sending out a warning notice simply isn't good enough. Wells Fargo needs to make this right." It does seem like it's a little bit unfair to these customers. No doing of their own to have their credit scores dinged.
Wells Fargo, is there a bank that fell from grace more quickly than that?
I can't even listen to this guy because it's not Wells Fargo. First of all, is not a bank that fell from grace quickly. Wells Fargo, for the record, has been a bank that's been notorious for doing money laundering for cartels like that, caught time and time again, and get nothing more than a slap on the wrist. But this is absolutely shocking. And just I want to show you this quick little thing from TikTok, and we'll get into like some censorship issues as well later. But this is one opinion here, and this is kind of what I want to get you guys' opinion on right here.
We might have just seen the canary in the coal mine for the U.S. economy. Do the words credit crunch mean anything to you? If they do, it's probably because you were around in 2008. A credit crunch is essentially just when banks stop loaning people money, whether it be for commercial or personal use. When I read that Wells Fargo is shuttering its personal lines of credit, my heart sunk into my stomach. This is not good. They already halted all new home equity lines of credit last year. Now, it's not great that they're shuttering personal lines of credit, but we should be really watching for business lines of credit, because that's when a credit crunch turns into a credit crisis. Imagine you're developing a building and you have a line of credit for like 20 million. That gets pulled, you can't do the project, lots of people lose their jobs. It sends a shockwave through the economy. They wouldn't be doing this unless they felt something was coming.
So
I don't usually get my financial advice from TikTok, but that guy's right.
TikTok bats.
Yeah, talk about Winston. That's the only place I listen to. Like, if I
since Teen Executive got deplatformed, there's no reason for me to be on there anymore.
I guess financial advice.
Exactly. It's weird though. The TikTok stuff, I actually dug in a little bit deeper, and it's about paid advertising. It's not about people just shilling, apparently. Mm-hmm. So, apparently people can still shill if they want to, but they can't be paid. So the promoted advertising ban is what it is. It's not about just people giving their own opinions. So they're not really censoring people per se. They're censoring paid shitcoining, because we all know what's going on in TikTok. It's not real projects. It's mostly shit.
Wait. SafeMoon's not a real project?
No, it's not. It's a scam.
I would say that people will learn. It's just a terrible.
This is a funny thing. I've been talking with a few TikTokers for Omni, right? And then we have some really good ones already online. There's someone that I will post probably a video today or tomorrow. More than 19 million followers on TikTok, and the other one with 12 million followers on TikTok. And when we're talking about promote Omni and literally join the waiting list for the app, there's a social media app. I came across to them and I said, hey, you finally have a project that you have authority to talk about. You're not talk about finance. You're not talk about anything else. You're not kind of like giving or leading your audience to something that you're not expert. You're talking about a new social media that is coming that will bring you and give you fully ownership of your content that you don't have right over here on TikTok or in other social medias. So for the first time, you have the right power, the right decision to inflate your audience to something that you truly understand, that you master. You have 19 million followers, right? And they went nuts. They went nuts. And the videos that will come today, it's awesome. So I think like the only way that we should listen to them is when they talk about something they understand, unless you are a financial advisor with a really nice TikTok following.
Let's okay, yeah, let's I actually had some discussion points about TikTok later if we get around to it. You know, whether the censorship was a good thing or a bad thing. We see it, you know, across YouTube, we see it in Twitter, you know, whatever. So we'll come back to that. But really, like, I want to focus on what we need to be paying attention to right now. And you know, I've been seeing like in my feed on YouTube pop up more and more and more. You know, we got Robert Kiyosaki, we've got other people that are warning. You know, we've all known that, like, you know, the Fed has been kicking the can down the road. And I think and so what does this mean? You know, that Wells Fargo is freezing all lines of credit.
Well, I think it's one of those indicators that you want to look at and keep an eye on. Like, as personal line of credit, like, it's not a huge thing yet. Obviously, it's worrying, and it indicates obviously that banks want to keep more money closer to their chest because they know something's going to happen, and they're either going to need that money or want to utilize that money. I think once you see that sort of expand further out and get into more commercial sort of stuff, then you know we're on the verge at that point in time.
Yeah, I think a lot of people realize that, 5% inflation in 1 year, lots of money being printed. I know everyone in the US that I'm friends with that's noticed gas prices have gone up, clothes prices have gone up, food prices have gone up. So their everyday living costs have now increased. Their pay, obviously, when COVID and all this stuff has not increased. It's probably decreased or have less money. So it's a harder time. And I think banks are looking at that and going, we need to hoard our capital because we're going to need it. And I think that's the reality. And a lot of people talk about this. You know, Hoskinson talked about this, how like 2022 is probably going to be a very harsh year. It might be a very harsh year. So, you know, like a lot of people think that I'm like super bear, and I love crypto and I love Bitcoin and I want to see it at 100,000. But at the same time, like, the reality is, where's the money coming from? Like, you have to really just look at who is going to have the capital to push the market further. And everyone really already bought in. I don't know if anyone else thinks that. I mean, maybe there's some institutions that haven't bought in, but I knew 2 months ago that Apple was trying to buy in. I knew from the same people that told me that Tesla was buying in and that told me that Cardano was going on to Coinbase. Every single thing they've ever told me was true. So I think that Apple is, and maybe they're taking their time. It may not happen right now. It may not happen this quarter. They may buy a little bit. But the thing is, they know it. Apple Pay is going to be accepting cryptocurrency. So you have to like align the dots and go, fundamentally, these things are going to happen, but that doesn't mean the price is going to go up. We saw all the stars align in the last bear market and still the price come down. But if you really believe in crypto and you really believe in Bitcoin, I mean, if you bought Bitcoin, will it go to an all-time high? Yes. Will 90%, 99% of all the projects ever hit all-time high? No. 90, I think it's 92 projects from last cycle hit all-time high this cycle. Only 92. Let me remind you, there was over 10,000 projects last cycle. So just to keep it real, you got to really, really understand what you're invested into. And you really just have to believe in it. And like people who've been in crypto like Kyle for this long, he didn't give up the first time there was an 80% dump. So it's not like we're just all giving up. It's not like I'm giving up because I'm bearish. I'm a technical analyst. I'm going to be bearish because the chart is bearish. But I believe in the fundamentals behind crypto. And I'm pretty sure, you know, That Martini Guy probably has a very similar perspective because he's also a trader, right? So we're bearish. So we be bearish. We look for shorts. We make our money that way. When the market's bullish, it's awesome.
Martini Guy, what do you think?
Martini Guy choose though.
Yeah,
Tell me what he thinks.
I'm concerned. That's what I would say is when I look at it at the moment, I feel concerned. I say, well, I'd like to long here. And of course, I made the video the other day. I bought 30 Bitcoins. I got rid of all of my US dollars. That's it. I'm in now. I'm buying the dip here, essentially. I'm probably quite early to buying the dip. I'm well aware of that. I'm just also very impatient. And so what do I think is going to happen? I don't know. Is the way that the market looks at the market. I've got no idea. No one's got any idea. That's why no one's trading. That's why volumes are low. It's because nobody knows. And whichever direction it pops next, it's going to go for a while in that direction. If we go down, we're going down to 26K. I don't think we go much lower than 26K. I don't think we reach 20K. Seems a bit unrealistic. But 26K definitely is in play, with it being at the bottom side of kind of that pennant formation that we've been looking at for a very long time. And at 26K, we'd probably see a bounce straight back up to 30K anyway. So I'm not that bothered about buying around these levels. For me, I look at it as, from a long-term perspective, is when is this going to end? It's been going on a while now. I think that we do still see a continuation of the bull run towards the back end of the year. Which again is why I'm not trying to find the bottom here. I'm looking at 3 to 6 months trades. Everything short term that I keep trying just keep blowing up in my face. So yeah, I'm going longer term now. That's where I'm going.
Yeah. It seems like that video that we've all seen in the crypto world, where the pump it and dump it. What is that guy called? You know, like, he's about to blow his brains out. Okay, like, pump it. Yeah.
So he just bought.
Dump it. So let's assume that this is a different. We're in a different situation right now, much different than 2008. You know, obviously the can got kicked down the road. Fed printed more money. You know, but now there's an option, right? Before, you know, if you there are the very few people that saw the stock market crash coming in 2008. Had, you know, their option was to flee into fiat, and that was a good. If they did that, that was a good choice, right? But now we see. You know, I think, what is the statistic, guys? It's like 23% of all the USD that's ever been minted has been minted in the last year, or something like that. So we have a 23% basically inflation rate. You know, someone can argue that, but it is insane compared to what the goal of 2 to 5% of what it would have been. And so now it's like, you know, where do people flee to, right? And so if we start to see like very, very shaky stock markets and concerns, you know, do we think that if the stock market does end up crashing, people flee into gold, Bitcoin, or fiat?
I have an opinion on this.
Yeah. His mic is gone again.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. So what I think is happening with this is very simple. I think there is this one big volatile move approaching. It'll be triggered by the US dollar. We'll have one big kind of wiggly wobbly thing in the middle on the chart, and it's going to move. The US dollar is going to shift in value very, very quickly. We'll see exactly what we saw when Bitcoin dropped to 3K from 9K. It'll just be one of them. It'll liquidate everybody, long, short. Everybody's going to get blown up, and that removes all of the. You know, when everyone gets liquidated on those days, it removes all of the resistance within the chart. So the price just moves freely in any direction. And, you know, we don't know which direction it's going to be. But I'm confident that people use Bitcoin as a store of value. I'm confident that narrative comes back. If that narrative comes back, then Bitcoin is a store of value again. It's just all opinions. Just like gold, is it a store of value or is it a commodity? It depends on the day of the week. And so with Bitcoin, it literally just depends on how people are feeling on the day of the crash. Is it a store of value, or are we selling our store of value for cash because we're scared? Don't know.
Yeah, Winston, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a few opinions on this. Firstly, the 5% inflation figure that Coach quoted, that's the official figure. Like you said, if you look at cost of goods, I think it's closer to 20%, kind of across the board. Obviously, it is bouncing around a bit with certain things, but like that's more realistic as to where we're at. When it comes to Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation, I think that narrative's kind of been blowing up a little bit, where, you know, that was going around when we were at 60K or something, and it's not a great hedge against inflation at a 60K to 30K kind of drop. when it comes to a store of value too, I mean, like gold has been a store of value for, you know, hundreds of years. So, you know, like that is a safer asset, and it's not kind of like a day of the week kind of thing. It's more, you know, hundreds of years. When it comes to something like, I equate it to like Martini Guy, you know, 9K to 3K March 2020. What actually happened there across all markets was it was a liquidity crunch. So people were trying to sell anything at that point in time. And I think that's what people need to be wary with is that assets across the board will devalue if we see something like that happening. People will need whatever money is on hand or available to service their debts or to live or whatever's necessary. So I think I think we go lower. I think that this is something which will play out over a longer period of time as well. And whether crypto bounces in the meantime, I mean, we'll see. But I think that if we look to the wider markets and assume that bad things are going to happen there, crypto will be devalued as a result of it. And when you're looking for people to buy that 3K bottom, as it was in March 2020, like that's a good long-term trade and a short-term trade. Like if you are in this for the long term, like that's the time, like if you can be patient, like that's the time to wait and buy those sorts of opportunities. Obviously it was a very lucrative one if you did take that up and then were a little patient afterwards. And like there's no rush, you know, like these things don't happen overnight. And making those sorts of trades at that point in time is a much safer trade than doing anything in between.
Yep.
Yeah,
I want to
like I have some. Yes, absolutely. So yes, even like the Wells Fargo thing, the video, I think like they are reflecting. They already know if they take an action like this, they're harsh, is because they don't want to become the next Lehman Brothers, right? Because they see the inflation, they see something big happening and coming, and they don't want to get wrecked. Literally, like some people bullish moon, and then get wrecked in crypto. They already know what can happen with them. So maybe they are taking those kind of harsh measures that I truly believe they are not right on what they're doing, but they did a really nice prediction and analysis because, again, I don't think, like Winston said, crypto is Bitcoin is the perfect hedge right now for the inflation, right? And another option, but at some point it will be. Let's say, like even unless you have another big crash, a big black swan event, like we had the first wave of COVID, right? There's any single risk asset dumped. It doesn't matter even if you consider Bitcoin as a hedge, right? But Bitcoin didn't dump in the second wave. When the market crashed again, everybody was freaking out. Bitcoin started to go up, right? And I'm a trader as well. I believe in the chart. I checked. I see everything, right? But I never saw a death cross or bullish conversions or Ichimoku cloud, something like this, move prices like a bear news, like a black swan event or like a FOMO event brings a chart to 60K. So I think this is way more possible to happen at some point. We see so many things happening out there. Crypto.com. There was just Monaco years ago. I had a bunch of Monaco. Now Crypto.com. They are in the UFC. People know. You watch the Formula One event. You know that where you can buy crypto. You know if you want to have a debt or credit card in crypto, right? So it's way out there. More awareness and education about crypto, where you can go and buy. And institutions, yes, maybe they will not be enough to move the money, but like the market, the retail will be at some point, right? So I truly believe that we are in the right time, we're in the right place. We just need to be patient, exactly like Winston said. We need to be patient. Like if you banked, if you are liquid right now and you can wait, maybe buy every single dip. Maybe there's not the right dip right now, maybe 26, 22, maybe we touch the old all-time high again, right? But this is it, guys. This is it. I think it's happening. And the inflation, if you look at the big picture, if you look what Bank of America announced yesterday, every single thing will come to place. And when we go again to 40K, probably this will be enough to trigger the ignition for the 55 or for the FOMO to kick in at some point.
I want to build, and guys, for the comments saying, I know that I'm lit up like crazy. We have a screen that is bright on my face, so live with it. So okay, so I'm gonna build like a little case right now, and because I want, I think I'm not a trader, but I want to just build a case for the big picture macro perspective. We have things like Fidelity, who has increased their employee headcount by 70% as demand for Bitcoin increases from institutional investors, and it remains strong. Right? We just saw, I think, something from JP Morgan or something, which we know is highly manipulating the markets, say that there's no institutional demand, right? But Fidelity says the opposite. And by the way, Fidelity has been in the space for a long time. If in case you didn't know, my mom converted her Roth IRA into Bitcoin in 2015 using Fidelity. So we know that, in Fidelity, exactly. Fidelity. And if you guys don't know, Fidelity is, they're I think the parent company is Tiger Asset Management, which manages something like somewhere in the trillions of dollars of assets. One of the largest asset managers in the world, and so they're heavily involved, right? And then we have things like Ernst & Young, who is now building a zero knowledge proof layer 2 on top of Ethereum. So we have massive corporates who are building. We also have news of Microsoft now building a digital identity solution on top of Bitcoin. And then one of these things that I just saw like a half an hour ago is basically and we've all, I think, seen it recently, the amount of Bitcoins moving off of exchanges. And it is, I think I saw something today, I don't know if it was from Carl or something like that, 2,000 Bitcoin a day or something like that are moving off of exchanges. And we see right now that 17 out of the circulating supply, which is 18.75 million, which we all know is significantly less than that actually, because of Bitcoin being lost over time. Bitcoin, yeah, we have a very, very small amount actually sitting on exchanges. And we also know that like a lot of us, and that the biggest number, by the way, over about double from what Binance has is Coinbase. And we all know that like Coinbase has allowed since 2013 or something Americans to be able to buy Bitcoin. And of course, they're just holding it on Coinbase. So a lot of that Bitcoin that's sitting there on Coinbase isn't meant to be used by institutions. I mean, a lot of it probably is, but the point is that we have this basically supply shock, I think, of Bitcoin, where it's just going to get gobbled up. And the last thing, and then Winston, I know that you could probably, I know that you do some on-chain analysis, so we'll have you chat about this in a second, but I thought this was fascinating. So the number of wallets holding over 100,000 Bitcoin hits a 27-month high. And so if we take the circulating supply of Bitcoin, and we assume that between 4 to 6 million is the number that I've heard for years. We assume that that's missed or missing forever, right? And you guys might have seen the story recently about the guy who threw away his hard drive with 7.5 thousand Bitcoin on it in England, and he's worth like $127 million or whatever, and he's paying some firm using AI and scanning and conveyor belts to go and help fish him out. But anyway, that stories like that I've heard over the years countless times about people losing Bitcoin. So the point is that like if we make the assumption that between 4 to 6 million Bitcoin are lost forever, so the total supply becomes something like 16 million, and this number of addresses holding over 100,000. That means that only 160 wallet addresses could actually hold that many Bitcoin ever, right? And we know people like Grayscale, they're going to be holding 1 million Bitcoin soon. We know that Winklevoss probably have more than 170,000. We know that Michael Saylor, they're over 100K. El Salvador probably holds something between 10 to 15,000 Bitcoin, but basically, we know that people, the longtime holders, are acquiring like crazy right now, and sooner or later, the OTC market will dry up, and people will be forced to actually trade and buy from exchanges. So I want to get you guys' opinion on all of this macro news that's happening. And Winston, I know that you do some on-chain analysis. Like, can you please talk about this a little bit more?
Yeah, well, I think this speaks to the like long-term bullish approach of significant players in the market, right? If you are cashed up and you do believe in crypto long-term or BTC, like the guys were talking about, you apply a DCA strategy on things. So, like buying dips is hedging risk, and like accumulation is definitely going on when it comes to those sorts of players. When it comes to the BTC moving off exchanges, I think that's not just BTC, that's Ethereum and a lot of other crypto assets as well. And that's coming down to, a bit of FUD around Binance, obviously, recently. People not being able to use SEPA to move or cash crypto out to their bank accounts anymore. And probably just a bit of fear around the custodial aspect of things. I also think, too, like, now's not really like a spot buying market. Like a spot buying market is probably like when you're properly bearish or when we're fully bullish. Like now is more, like at least from my perspective, is more derivative trading. So like, if I was to trade BTC or Ethereum or something like that at this point in time, like I'm not actually buying BTC or ETH. I'm, buying a derivative version of it. So I don't actually need to hold the underlying asset to make a trade, So I think there's a few things going on there. I mean, again, it does speak to the case of, short-term bearish, long-term bullish with a lot of things. And, just to speak to your audience, I do think, just to re-impress the point, not your keys, not your crypto, like holding coins on exchanges is not ideal at the best of times.
Unless you're Elon Musk, who thinks that exchanges make a great second layer. Remember that?
Yeah, well, that's an interesting thing too. And probably I just wanted to quickly speak to the point with Apple. Like when it comes to, if you actually look at I saw a chart recently with the institutional holdings of BTC, and it was like Tesla, it was MicroStrategy, there was a couple of other sort of names in there, and that was just a bunch of like institutions you've never heard of. And I think like when it comes to Elon and just who he is, and obviously with Tesla and their balance sheet, it kind of made sense for them to buy BTC. The Apple stuff like doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like, well, they may be like facilitating crypto payments and that sort of thing in the future. Like, they've got huge cash reserves. They don't really they essentially run their own hedge fund at this point in time.
Like to pull you up on that on the Apple thing. I believe that if Apple is implementing Bitcoin within Apple Pay as a settlement option, they have to hold Bitcoin in order to make sure that the transactions are instant. So
no, they don't. They don't need to, because they can do like an exchange style option. Happens on stuff like Robin or like PayPal. PayPal, they accept Bitcoin, but they don't need to actually have the Bitcoin.
They have to hold one-to-one Bitcoin for everyone. Because imagine, Winston, imagine this. Imagine that PayPal's audience goes out and gives you $100 million cumulative and buys Bitcoin, and then they don't go actually buy Bitcoin, but then Bitcoin goes up to $100,000 from 30. Like, PayPal loses all of that, so they have to be able to adjust for the volatility.
Yeah, but they're crediting a balance like 1-to-1 as it happens. Like they're not holding. Anyways, my point is that it seems to me, and this is probably just a personal opinion, it probably differs to you guys, but it seems to me like for someone like Apple to make that sort of move, especially when BTC is sort of at this level, like it seems the financial side of things seems limited, and the PR disaster side of things seems way more probable. Like if Apple are putting 2.5 billion into BTC at 30K or whatever we are now, and it drops to 25, that's a relatively big black mark against them.
For them,
Tesla's
it's
trade
like
actually
0.2%.
it made a lot of
Yeah.
sense at the time.
And they are backed by Goldman, right? So
It-
the Apple Pay
it's-
card is backed by Goldman Sachs. So
I
gotta remember
just
that as
know.
well.
They have to buy at some point, and the idea that
Yeah.
Bitcoin could drop 10% is, and it would
They'll just
damage
buy more.
Apple's reputation. It has to drop at some point, and they just have to do it. You've got to get on board the ship at some point. And I would say that 30K beats 60K in terms of where to buy in. And even if you could say, well, Apple are going to buy the bottom, where is the bottom? None of us know. Apple don't know. They get.
I
to
don't
choose
understand
where
how
the bottom
Apple
is.
need to hold BTC if they're accepting BTC as payments. You know, like if they're taking BTC in, you know, like they might need a small liquidity float for that sort of thing, but you know, they're taking your BTC as it comes in and then giving it to a merchant either as BT or settled USD.
True, but
even-
I mean, like it's like 0.7% of their total holdings is 2.5 billion. So like it's not even really blip for them. And like I've had this conversation with our fund, like the fact that we know people that have $300 billion real estate funds, they can't even give us $1 billion because we can't even invest it all. Crypto is still so immature, and I think that's what people forget so much. Is like we have a $1.4 trillion industry. It's nothing. It's Microsoft's fucking market cap. Like we are so early. And that's the thing that people forget. And like, yeah, maybe it's not Bitcoin. Maybe it's not ETH. Maybe it's DOT. Who the fuck knows? We all don't know for sure. But what we do is we speculate and we make bets based off of what we know about who is connected to those projects and what the potential is. And I think, you know, Winston, you're with me on this one as well. It's like we all don't know, but we're all placing our bets on things that we think have the highest, highest chance to do well. And I think that's what everyone's doing. And good investors, we just look at like the opportunity versus the risk, and is it worth it or not? And like we're all probably guilty right now of this, saying to projects, sorry, we're not interested anymore because the risk and risk reward is not good right now.
Yeah.
Right. So we're all doing it.
Just quickly, I would just say on the Apple news, if it does eventuate and that does come through, and we see the news come out and it doesn't move the market in any significant way, like I'm fully bearish at that point.
I'll be massively bearish. I'll be like fucking short the market, bitches.
I think just adding a little bit on what Coach said, you know, I think like typically when asset managers, you know, look at an option like this, and the risk to reward ratio is so high in favor of reward versus risk and something like this. Like, okay, you know, they buy in at 30K and yes, okay, we have a black swan event. The whole markets over the world get wrecked. And let's say they lose 50% of the value. It's not really a huge deal for Apple, but on the flip side, they are looking at a potentially a 20% loss per year, keeping their money in fiat. But and the upside of the risk of not putting that money, because that small percentage of their portfolio could completely hedge against a massive wreck, getting wrecked in the fiat markets, or like the USD. So they, like if they do put $2.5 billion into Bitcoin and that goes up to, you know, that ends up going up to $500,000, that upside will make up for any type of potential, you know, loss and dramatically change like their holdings. So I think this goes true for any asset manager when they're trying to make a decision on, you know, like, because such a small amount of your portfolio invested in Bitcoin can completely hedge the risk of getting wrecked from anything. You know, the upside is so great and the downside is so small that it just makes sense to me that anybody, like, I was thinking about this earlier when I thought about that number of the 100,000, you know, wallet plus, and I'm just like, you know, it just takes a few of the richest people in the world to like hear of some, like us talking on this video right now, for them to be like, ding, light goes on, or what? You listen to Michael Saylor for talk for 5 minutes, and you're like, holy shit, like, you know, what am I doing? I'm
listen to Michael Saylor before, though.
He's the extreme end of things.
Yeah,
but
you gotta listen to Michael Saylor before.
I will just say one thing on there with you, Kyle, is that I do agree with you in the sense that BTC has been legitimized as an alternate asset class, and that when it does come to institutions dipping in, they are starting to see it as some sort of hedge, whether it's a hedge against inflation, or it's a store of value, or it's just playing the odds. You know, like I see that we've reached that point now where asset managers are looking at having a very small percentage of BTC on their books. And while I don't think that that's something that's going to necessarily be a market mover, it's definitely like a long-term sign of legitimization for BTC.
Yeah, I really think it's like Kyle said, like even if Apple comes in and have 10 billion, they will not put 10 billion on Bitcoin at 30K. They will not put 8 billion, right? Like any fund manager that knows how to manage the portfolio of a company like that, they will go with 2 billion, 1 billion. And then like if you go to 50K, 15K, right? The upside is so much better. They can buy and buy and buy. They'll be protected. Whenever they jump in, they'll be doing the perfect and the right strategy plan to jump in an asset that is so risky like Bitcoin. But I think they will not miss out.
Yeah. Guys, I just want to remind everyone watching, back when we first got started and I shared the crypto cases giveaway, a lot of people were here, but guys, we're doing a huge, massive giveaway. So down in the comments below, you've got a GLEAM campaign. That's one way for you to get involved. We're going to be doing this every single week and just accumulating private sale opportunities from these projects. Right now we've got well over $100,000. Right now we're $185,000 to give away, and these projects haven't even launched yet. So when we, let's say in Q4 we get into altcoin season, this will be absolutely massive. And I can't wait to just literally give this away to everyone watching. Not everyone, but some of the winners watching this content. Just subscribe, comment, like, share with everybody. Let's grow this channel. Let's get this giveaway to like $10 million. You guys, we could do it. It sounds like crazy, but we can do it. And this is life-changing for a lot of you. Okay, now that I got that out of the way, so let's talk about the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, because there's a lot of what is going to happen here, guys? We know that there's people that are debating this all the time. What's going to happen? We've got this unlocking, I don't know, any day now, right? And people have the option to sell if they want to, or just basically keep it in Grayscale. So what's going to happen, guys?
No one knows. I mean, do you know the mentality of all those people that actually bought or didn't buy Bitcoin? We don't know. I mean, this is why I bet you the volume is completely dried up in the market and everyone's just waiting. Everyone's going, is this everyone going to sell, or everyone going to re-put it back in and just like leave it there for longer? No one has an idea.
Buy. Keep buying. Everyone buy. Throw your money at it. Every penny. Buy now.
Just take exactly like
yes. Trader and me says
just take exactly like a year and a half or 2 years ago. Like if you imagine, if it would be at 30K now, would it be bullish? Yes, 30K, we are 30K, and everyone complains about the price fluctuation. The price goes up and down too much. Now we are playing a range. So it's not bad. This is even giving probably more credibility to the other markets to look at us, right? Yeah, it's not bad. We don't need to have $10,000 move every day, every week. So it's accumulation time. But and look at the fundamentals. Look at everything that has happened. The sentiment.
My opinion is that when the people that used Grayscale Bitcoin Trust are institutions, right? Like no retail market really. I mean, we have Chamath uses it, right? And but he's not a retail, right? Chamath himself is an institution in his own, own right. So these to me. It doesn't seem like the institutions threw their money in Grayscale Bitcoin Trust for a trading opportunity, right? If they wanted to be able to be liquid, they probably would have been doing it on their own. How could they have known when they put the money in the trust that they would want to make a move in 6 months? It's probably not likely. My guess is they were using it as a hedge, keeping it in. I do not think it's going to be a big event. That's my opinion personally. As I believe that most institutions who are getting involved are doing it because they understand where we're going in the 5 to 10 year type of to market trends. That's my opinion. I don't know if you guys have a agree or disagree, but
I have a strong opinion on the Grayscale one, which is the narrative at the time of Grayscale gaining in popularity was hedge against inflation, and right now we're going straight back into that narrative again. So I don't think it's going to have a big effect. It's the people that bought on Grayscale were hedging against inflation, and that narrative's back. Like it's been missing for a while. For a while, it was pump shitcoin, let's make loads of money, and then it's come back to reality, which is the whole point of this is to hedge against inflation. So I don't think it'll be a big thing. I think the market can absorb it anyway. Even if who does want to sell, it won't be a. a big one. If anything, there might be some very big players that are hedging against inflation and going, hang on a second, we could just pump this because the liquidity is so low because everyone's withdrawing from exchanges. It wouldn't take
or there's also the factor that like people are just waiting for this event, right? And when it's a non-event, they may click the buy button or the sell button, depending on whatever the side they're on, right? And like bears have been trying to push the market down. We've seen how many attempts to them to push it lower than 30K, and they can't do it. We were on, Kyle, last time I was on the show, and we hit 29K, and I said it's probably market makers pushing it down to really cause panic, and it's exactly what happened. So we'll see. We know there's big walls there, but does that mean that people will buy or not remove them? We don't know. We've never seen like that not happen. I've seen walls and they get removed very quickly if the market drops. So we just have to be realistic and play the range. Right now, we've been ranging between 30 and 40K. And if you've been playing that range, you've been making great trades for like 2 months. It's really, really easy. But just don't overtrade. Now is not a time to become a hero trader. Now is a time to sit back and wait. Like all the best traders say, the most money you make is when you're sitting and waiting. It's not when you're actually trading. It's like when you're waiting for that perfect opportunity. Patience. And when that opportunity comes to your perfect opportunity, that level that you've waited for like a month sometimes, and you hit that friggin' buy order, that's the point where you have that opportunity. And I don't know if we're going to have it this time. I don't know if we're going to hit 30K and just bounce super hard. We're going to drop below and cause a bear trap and moon right after. No one knows. Right now, we have to sit and wait and see where the volume comes from. Where do people want to do? Do they want to buy or do they want to sell? And how much do they want to do that? And for how long of a sustained period is that going to happen? That will give me the indication where we're going next.
If and when we drop below $30,000, I would expect a lot of people will enter a lot of money in short positions, and I would imagine they'll do it on high leverage, which is why I think we'll drop down to 26K. There'll be a lot of money pushing it down, and then all of that buy liquidity that everyone's been waiting for, 26K, just straight away liquidates everyone. That's most likely situation, I think, at the moment.
It's like
a beautiful bear trap. I love it.
Yeah. Like people say about those buy walls, sell walls, like they're not made by Grayscale. They're made by all the whales that are having the market, right? It's not by funds like that. And it's exactly like Kyle said as well. People investing in Grayscale, it's not retail. It's not moon boys, right? They're not there for the quick profit. They're not there for the profit 2 months, invest and take a profit in 6 months. So I truly believe like in 6 months, we will not see any change. But what they see is they are very smart with risk management. It's not moon boys and not retail trading over there. So when they look in the past 10 years of Bitcoin and they see that all-time low has always been high and almost 2x or 1x and a half, the all-time low, besides I think of 2013 and 15, they say, okay, my money that is invested in Grayscale in 5 years, right? It's almost risk-free when you think on that way about the all-time lows from the whole history of Bitcoin. So they are no moon boys. They'll be there for the long term. If they invest in something over there, they invest in something that they don't care to lose, right? So long-term boys.
Coach, I know that you often get, and probably I'm guessing that, actually everyone on right now, we all have our sources that give us inside information. Coach, you talk about it often. I'll share something with you guys that I found very, very interesting. One of the biggest signs that we've been looking for, to figure out like really when big money is going to come buy up. So as you guys know, Master Ventures has this polka dot fund, and we're talking to LPs right now. And I talked to one of my friends who just closed this $140 million fund. And, he sends me a list of some of the LPs, and I could not believe how many pension funds were on the list of and I blew my mind. I mean, but these are mostly from Korea, from South Korea or Asia somewhere. But, but also in the States, there was a lot of them in the States. Pension funds, a whole list of like 45 of the LPs were pension funds. And I asked him about it, and he said, yeah, man, like, pension funds are failing, and this is what everybody, teachers, government workers, they're all relying on pension funds for their retirement, and they're failing. And, if they have to do so basically what he said is like, look, these guys are turning to degens. Like they don't have, like, what they've been doing isn't working, and they either need to make some extreme changes very quickly, or they're going to be out of jobs and everything's going to fall apart. So like that was one of the most shocking things that I had heard in a long time, was basically, this thing about pension funds getting involved in the market. Winston, you just shared something with me. What do you want to talk about this?
It's probably a little much to take in on a stream like this. I can post it on Twitter, or maybe you can. But it's a really good insight into the GBTC unlocks from QCP Capital. The TLDR is that with it trading under premium and it being institutional, they don't expect any impact on the market. Exactly. Okay, perfect. No, there you go. See? Answers.
We'll see. I'm just waiting. I have no reason to trade right now. I have no reason to trade and wait. I'm happy to wait another week to figure out what happens. You know what I mean? Like, some people need to make money every day. I am happy to keep my money in my pocket. Capital preservation 101.
Coach, what do you any insider scoop coming from you?
Not really. Like, there's really not too much. Like, I think honestly, like what I'm saying is everyone's waiting for this GBTC thing to play out. That's why volumes have dissipated over the last 2 weeks immensely. You can see on the daily chart from Bitcoin, Ethereum to DOT, everything's just slowly dwindling down, whether that's the start of a bear market or just people going, you know what, let's sit out and wait. Smart money sits out and waits. They go, you know what, I'm going to sit out, I'm going to look, I'm going to keep my USDT, and I'm going to wait. And I think that's the best play here right now. When GBTC comes out, whatever happens, happens. If nothing happens, there's going to be a move to either side. So that's when you make your move. That's the best time. So after GBTC, if nothing happens, either we're going to dump or we're going to pump. I would assume if we don't dump, I would assume that we don't dump right away as that comes out, that we see a mega pump, not just like a normal little push $1,002. I think we'll see a really big pump. But the reality is there's a 5 to 10% chance of that happening, and there's a 90% chance of it dumping further. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when I think that's I don't know what everybody's waiting for, man. But when the kind of the point that I made earlier, this people buying and holding, man. There's a very finite amount of Bitcoin in the world, and people just don't seem to understand this. And I don't think that the price trading, because it's just retail trading on exchanges, so that it doesn't accurately represent, in my opinion, what people. I think when it's going to be like a game of musical chairs, when someone goes to buy $1 billion worth of Bitcoin and they can't do it OTC anymore, or if a few people do it and they can't do it, then they have to go to exchanges. It's going to be like the game of musical chairs, man, where people are just scrabbling to get the last bit of it. And this is when we see a super cycle. And in my gut, I feel like this is the calm before the storm, man. And I pay attention to macro news every single day, and it's so hard for me to imagine having like having a long-term bear market. I think you guys probably all probably right. Like we want the goal of everybody, and by I say everybody, I mean all the richest people, banks, and countries in the world. They would like nothing more but for everyone watching this show to not have any Bitcoin, right? Like that's what they want to do. They want to make you guys scared as hell and confuse the hell out of you with pumping and dumping, manipulating the markets. They want to own the entire supply, and this is just kind of what's going on right now, And so I just want to everyone out there to remind you that have your eyes, just make sure that you have some Bitcoin. Like that's all you have to do in life to like that's your retirement plan. Like I can't tell you about all the other altcoins except for paid, of course. But like all the other altcoins, like what they're going to do or how they're going to perform. But we do know that Bitcoin is going to crush it, right? Because there's just really no competitor to Bitcoin, and that's kind of the basis of it. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say, guys. Like, they're in the interim, it sounds like we're probably not going to have too much of an effect. Hopefully, we get some more. But okay, last question, I guess. Last question is when are we going to see When are we going to see some retail wake up?
I think we're already seeing it. I think we see it in the altcoin market at the moment. There's a lot of stuff that's like stuff that I don't hold. I hold none of it. Everything that I hold is going down. But there is quite a lot of coins at the moment that are kind of popping up and not out of nowhere. These are projects that have been around for a while that have been working fundamentally on the brand, on the adoption, and it's those people that are now starting to. The coins didn't go 20, 30, 40x in the bull market, but now they're starting to go. And I think that's retail coming back. You've got to remember as well, like retail did just lose 95% of the money. And so they are poor right now, as am I. And that's just the nature of crypto. It goes up, it goes down. We're in a down patch. It was an expensive down patch for many, many people. And hopefully it's turning around. I mean, we're starting to see little bits of it. I just see a little bit more life in the market than I did a couple of weeks ago. And with Bitcoin being flat, people are looking elsewhere to make money. And I think they're looking towards decent altcoins.
Gaming.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's noticed gaming coins have just exploded. Axie, TLM, SLP.
To play game,
Yeah, audio also has had some crazy movement. Hive, I think like there's some interesting plays that are out there still. Tomo actually is one of the only coins up until today or yesterday that was actually bullish on the daily for once, which was crazy. So there's definitely some types of coins that are doing decently in this market, but I think we're going to start seeing the segregation of sectors like we saw in the stock market, right? We're going to see like gaming and NFTs and infrastructure and layer ones, and you're going to see something like that start to happen where people, and oracles. We saw that before, oracles, where all those types of sectors start to moon together, and we're seeing with gaming. And I'm really actually paying attention. I'm starting to compartmentalize my actual trading lists into I'm segregating them into different categories because I'm really starting to think that as the market matures, it will do the same thing the stock market did, and those types of categories will actually moon together. And you're seeing it. You've seen it in the past with all the oracles. You're seeing it right now with gaming. So start paying attention to that, because most traders pay attention to that. You guys should be paying attention to that because most people aren't. And that's, I think, something that can help you a lot.
I agree with you, man, 100% on gaming. Basically, the narrative that has been going around crypto forever has been, before DeFi was DeFi, it was gaming that, that is probably going to bring crypto to the masses. I just, a project I've been supporting forever, and I think you guys are all aware of, Ultra. What they're building is insane, and they've been building it for a long time. When I started working with them in early 2018, they had already been building, and the way that they built it is like, it's so clever to where people can go out, get the benefits of like decentralization. All game assets are traded and minted on their marketplace, and nobody even has to feel like they're ever using crypto whatsoever, and this is the ultimate key, so like, people like Elliot and like things like that are really bullish on NFTs, and Gary V and everyone, like, this is going to be what drives mainstream adoption to people. And this is what I've been saying forever as well. Like, people have to feel like they're not using crypto and using crypto before.
Yeah. This is going exactly on that narrative. Like, we should look for projects that we're gonna use no matter what, no matter bear market, bull cycle, like gaming. You get wrecked in crypto, you get pissed, you go and play video game, and then you're gonna give utility to that token. You're gonna create demand, you're gonna trade, you're gonna sell, you're gonna buy skin, right? So you always play games no matter what. So that's the thing. Right now in DeFi is DeFi. If the market is wrecked, your finance project is wrecked, basically, right? So if you look sometimes for better options like this for projects that we got to use, that will give utility to your token no matter what. That's why even like, yes, I'm biased because I'm from Omni, right? But I joined Omni. I'm not the creator. I joined because I saw the vision. Kyle's follow completely the vision, same thing, because we are launching, we've been the first project now, PolyX, right? We are going to give utility for token, for something when people are going to use no matter what. We don't even feel that they're using crypto. They're just joining the coolest social media out there when they will have full ownership on their posts. Fully ownership, 100% royalties of everything, single thing that they do. We're going to create utility whenever people are pissed, they take their phone, they will watch funny videos, right? And the token will be being exchanged same way, right? Traded, creating demand. So that's the goal. You got to look for projects right now that will give utility for you no matter what. No matter bear market, bear bull cycle, no matter the price of Bitcoin, you can use it.
Just to bring back just quick, Axie Infinity, one thing that I learned from my group, because my group are from all over the world, literally every part of the globe. What I learned about Axie Infinity, which is super interesting, is what is crypto supposed to do? It's supposed to give everyone opportunity to participate and have a chance to, really accelerate in their life. Did you guys know that the average Filipino playing Axie Infinity are making about $100 a day US?
Sick.
That's a fuckload of money for people in Philippines. I live in Thailand. $1,500 a month in Thailand is a hell of a lot of money. So that's double that. So that just puts in perspective on why it's mooning. It's because you play this game, and when you're playing the game, you actually get rewarded and you earn money. And so I think a lot of people are going to really love this type of a model, and it's going to explode. And it's exploding because of that. People talk, hey man, I make $100 a day playing a game. What? Let me play that game too. So I think that's what's coming for crypto. That's where the adoption's coming. Because if I can play a game and I can make money, I can play Call of Duty and shoot you in the head and get an extra point for that shit. Fuck yeah, man. I'm playing Call of Duty all day. Hell yeah.
That's how Brock Pierce made his original BTC.
Absolutely.
I'm going to shill a bag, which is Exceed Me, which is exactly that. I mean, I invested very, very heavily into that. Even at these prices now, like everything that's not pumped yet in that market will be the next to go. I'd like that one to go because I own a lot of that coin because it's very cheap right now. But that's not financial advice, and you shouldn't go and buy it just because I've said that. But of course, there are a few projects doing that right now. The ones that are paid, pay you to play, but they pay you in coins, and it's based on engagement. So the longer that you play, the more you get paid. But you can make a full-time job from these things, and people don't realize you don't need to actually be a productive member of society. You can just sit at home, play games, and earn money. And that money, if it goes up 20 times in value, you can have a Lamborghini as well as play your games and all that other stuff. You don't need to take the normal route in life. And I think that will become more normal as time goes on because there'll be more people on Earth, more people taking weird routes in life, which eventually will become normal. We're just in a weird transition phase.
Yeah,
and no more need to go to school, go to university, get a degree, get another degree for a master's, and become a doctor and all that bullshit. Because honestly, most doctors that I'm friends with don't make as much money as I do. And they studied fucking harder than I did in school.
And the ones that
I had way more fun.
The ones that do are all putting in crypto right now anyway, the ones I talk to anyway. And just remember, guys, 100%. everyone watching this, just make sure that you don't take advice from people like this.
If you miss out on Dogecoin, Teller is on Coinbase, has the lowest market cap of 100 million. If that goes to 1 trillion, $100 turns into 1 mil.
You guys are absolutely killing it. This is what I'm talking about. I stopped checking my trust wallet, man. It's going up by the thousands. I'm about to have a fucking heart attack up in here. You guys are insane. Safe Moon is a future.
All right, guys, make sure you be careful where you get your financial advice. None of us are financial advisors. Thank you so much for everyone coming in. I love you guys. Have a wonderful evening. Martini Guy, Petrix, Winston, Coach.
Much love.
Pleasure.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Sam.
It's an honor to be here with you guys. Thank you, Kyle.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Peace.